New research from Sensor Tower analyzing over 100,000 real Amazon shopping sessions during the 2025 holiday season shows that AI-assisted shopping isn't a novelty anymore. It's becoming a default consumer behavior. On Black Friday, Rufus-assisted sessions captured approximately 40% of total sessions, but then drove 66% of purchases. Sessions involving the assistant converted at 3.5 times the rate of non-Rufus sessions, a gap that held steady across October, November, and December. Sensor Tower's data even shows that nearly all incremental holiday growth on Amazon came from AI-assisted shopping. This data matters because Amazon has been making very bold claims about Rufus that the industry has so far struggled to verify. In 2025, on the Q3 earnings call, CEO Andy Jassy reported that Rufus had reached over 250 million active customers, with monthly users up 140% year over year and interactions up 210%. And the headline number, Rufus was on track to deliver over $100 billion in incremental annualized sales. Those claims got people talking, mostly because no one could figure out what those numbers actually meant. What defines a Rufus user? Does sales mean Amazon's net revenue or gross merchandise value? What baseline are we comparing against? Without answers to these questions, many industry observers filed the numbers away as corporate PR and moved along. So Sensor Tower's independent research picks up where those questions left off and suggests that Jassy's claims, while in typical Amazon style were perhaps deliberately fuzzy, may have directionally undersold what's actually happening. This podcast episode is based on an article that I wrote for my column at The Drum called "While Everyone Debates Agentic Shopping, Amazon's Rufus is Racking Up Sales." And that piece was published on January 29, 2026. In a recent interview with the publication The Information, Andy Jassy doubled down on Rufus as Amazon's answer to third-party AI shopping agents. Physical retail still has advantages in discovery, he acknowledged. The ability to walk in, ask questions, refine those questions, and have somebody point you to different things. Jassy argued that Rufus addresses this gap within the digital experience. With regards to competitors like OpenAI building shopping capabilities, he was diplomatic but pointed. He said many third-party agents don't have your buying history, your preferences, or accurate information about pricing and products. He's not wrong as it pertains to on-site shopping assistants, but notice what Amazon did not do with Rufus. It didn't add recipe planning, lifestyle content, or other features of questionable relevance to the core shopping mission. Amazon recognizes that people come to their platform to shop, and Rufus stays focused on that job. This restraint sets Rufus apart compared to some other retailer AI experiments I've observed. Instead of making assistants genuinely useful alternatives to search, unnecessary features get bolted on. The result is bloated assisting tools that don't actually even help us accomplish our primary goal. Amazon avoided that trap by keeping Rufus tightly scoped to what customers actually need, which is finding products, comparing options, answering questions, and building the confidence to purchase. So that is something that Amazon got completely right with Rufus. Now, beyond the headline conversion numbers that I mentioned before, Sensor Tower also identified 10 distinct shopper behavior patterns that reveal when and why shoppers invoke the Rufus assistant. Now, listening to a podcast, all of these numbers are going to be hard to follow and are not going to make a lot of sense. So if you want to dig into this, certainly check out my post and the original research from Sensor Tower. But I'll just tell you about one, which they call the cart reconsiderer funnel journey. And this is a small number of sessions that they observed, only 7%, but it had a 50% conversion rate. In this shopper journey, the shopper has some items in the cart, but they hesitate. they invoke Rufus to overcome objections and confirm the fit. So this is a late funnel rescue sale. And how about that? 50% conversion of that rescue. But like I said, there's 9 other different funnel patterns that Sensor Tower observed. Things like early decider, research conversationalist, the cart reconsiderer that I mentioned, the search assistant, and the product validator. The insight here is that AI-enabled shopping is not one funnel. The early decider asks Rufus a quick question at the start. They get the confidence and then they convert at 85%. What retailers can learn from this is that just adding a chatbot and hoping for the best isn't the answer. Search assistant type behavior needs different support than the cart reconsiderers. Miracle Ads is the only retail media solution designed for both 1P and 3P marketplace brands. Why does that matter? Marketplace sellers demand a seamless advertiser experience that still offers full funnel ad formats. And retailers need a flexible solution that allows you to scale your media business. Learn more at miracle.com. That's MIRAKL.com. Now, here's a necessary caveat, and this came up in the comments when Sensor Tower's Ian Simpson first shared this data on LinkedIn. And so here's where some methodological caution is warranted. Rufus usage could correlate with higher intent rather than cause higher conversion. Heavy Amazon shoppers, those most likely to convert regardless, would also be most likely to use Rufus. And so this research defines Rufus sessions as any session with even brief interaction, which could inflate gaps. And the methodology relies on modeled panel data that may be revised. This data shows AI-assisted journeys are tightly linked to high conversion and likely to improve outcomes for at least some shopper segments. Consider it a strong directional signal, not a causal proof point. So the next KPI to watch. If Rufus is genuinely improving product understanding and purchase confidence, not just accelerating decisions shoppers would have made anyway, we should see evidence in post-purchase outcomes, lower return rates, fewer cancellations, especially in high research categories where the assistant guides complex decisions. This is the measurement that will prove whether AI actually makes shopping better or faster. Retailers and brands should start demanding this data split, AI-assisted versus non-assisted post-purchase outcomes. Until we see that analysis, conversion lift remains an incomplete picture. Now, what does all this mean for retail media? If AI assistants become primary decision aids, the monetizable unit shifts from search result placement to inclusion in the assistant's answers. Amazon, of course, has already introduced sponsored ad units within Rufus, and I'll be reporting soon on how those early placements are performing for brand advertisers. But that's a topic for a future column. The more immediate point is this: we don't need fully autonomous shopping agents to see meaningful disruption. Rufus isn't making purchases on anyone's behalf. It's not a true agent in that sense, but it is already reshaping how a significant share of Amazon shopping sessions unfold and capturing a disproportionate share of actual purchases. Amazon can afford to play the long game here. Other retailers watching these numbers should recognize they don't have that luxury. Everyone's waiting for the agentic future. Don't miss what's already changed.